If you've ever worked with a designer, videographer, web developer, or creative of any kind, you may have run into a communication barrier. Well, we're going to talk about how you can communicate as clearly as possible to your creative whenever you need to get started on that next design, web, video project. My name is Luke Clayton, and welcome to Church Media HQ. This episode is brought to you by our Church Media HQ free trial. Now, by now, you actually know very well that we offer a free 30-day trial of our Church Media HQ services. But I often get asked, okay, beyond the trial, what does it cost? And it's a completely fair question, and it's something that we don't address specifically in these promos very often. So I want to let you know that the starting price for Church Media HQ is actually $99 a month, and you can actually get it less than that if you pay year to year. And so this is and I want to emphasize this. I want to make sure you understand. We try to communicate this as clearly as possible. While we do have access to like downloadable content like graphics and videos, which by the way, we have recently really kind of upped our game in that department in particular. What it's more about is our custom services like on-demand design, which means if you need a design, you just send us your requirements and we take it from there. We do the work for you and send it to you. You don't have to customize the Photoshop files yourself and make sure you have the fonts and all that stuff. No, we are doing the work. Again, all you have to do is request it. Now, if you want to give it a try, let me kind of fill you in on what that means when you sign up for the free trial. First of all, there's no credit card required. This isn't a hope you forget that you gave us your payment information and in a month we're going to, bill you. That's not how this is designed to work. No, it's really designed to make sure that we are a good fit. And so how this works is you go and you submit a design request, and then our team takes that and we send you a sample design. We say, hey, here is what we could do based on what you have requested. Here's a few different options, and if you like what you see, then we talk about upgrading your account so that we can finish out the project and deliver the final designs. It's a very simple process. There's no commitment. There's no obligation. If you have any doubts, any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, schedule a call with me. You can do all of this at churchmediahq.com. If you have been waiting to take that next step, maybe you've heard about our free trials here for a while, and for whatever reason you haven't signed up, let me encourage you. Let's go ahead and just take that step today. You literally have nothing to lose because there's no credit card required, so there's no risk, and there's absolutely no hard feelings. I want to emphasize that as well. I'm not going to be upset at you. It's not like you're going to be banned from the podcast if you don't upgrade after doing your trial. No, because we genuinely only want to work with those that want to work with us. And many may be content to just continue being a podcast listener or a YouTube watcher or whatever. And that is great. And we love all of you freeloaders out there. But all kidding aside, we want to work with your church. We want you to at least give us a chance. So if you're hesitant at all, if you've been thinking about it, haven't done it, let's get it started today. Because another reason, we're getting pretty busy around here. It's fall and we're headed into the holiday season. And so we've never had a point where we've had to cut people off or not accept new signups. But anything could happen. Because the focus above anything, above gaining more business per se, is making sure we can meet your needs. And so what I'm getting at is just give us a try. Sign up now. You've got nothing to lose. And if it doesn't work out, no hard feelings. But hey, I have a good feeling that it just might. So sign up for your free 30-day trial. Or if you have, again, any doubts, any questions at all, reach out to me, schedule a call with me personally at churchmediahq.com, and I look forward to speaking with you and working with your church very soon. Okay, now speaking of that, speaking of working with professionals and in the creative professionals, I should say, I wanted to take an episode to talk about this concept in particular. Now, I did a series of episodes with Church Media HQ contributor Jeremy Linentine just a few weeks, couple months ago, and where we talked about starting a project. And so I'm not going to revisit too much of that. However, what we're going to be talking about is the communication process in particular. I can't tell you how many times we've begun working with a client or with a church in most cases, and for whatever reason, it just seems like the project isn't going well, and we're just not able to deliver what they're looking for. And really, the actual reason, I actually do know the reason. I've learned that there's very little mystery to it. 99 out of 100 times, the reason is because there's been a lack of clear communication and expectations from the end of the person requesting. So the client, again, the church that's asking our help. That is honestly always the problem. Now, look, we've made our fair share of mistakes and had our fair share of misunderstandings. It happens. We're all human here. But we've really learned that without clear communication from you, we cannot help you. And so I wanted to walk through just some ways and some ideas and tips, maybe, whatever you want to call it, so that you can, whether you're working with our team or another team. And look, I've said this before too. I want to emphasize, we would love to work with your church. We really would. But I know some of you already have a designer, for example. Maybe you already have someone in-house who handles it, or you're outsourcing to another freelance designer. Look, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm just talking about those, in general, about communicating with those types of professionals. And if you've never done it before, or maybe you've always done it yourself, sometimes that can actually be those who have done it themselves actually struggle the most to communicate how they want somebody else to do it. It's a process of delegation, and it can be incredibly challenging. And so all that to say, let's dive into a few things. Now, first thing, I want to emphasize something, and this is just something that you really have to understand as you're heading into it. So, and that is, you really have to count the costs. You really have to keep in mind what it's going to cost you. And look, the rates are going to vary. Most creative professionals are still charging some type of hourly rate, which typically comes with a minimum. So, for example, you have to pay a minimum of X amount of hours at this much an hour. And then if that minimum is exceeded, you'll have to pay the additional hourly rate. That is the most common approach still. Again, that's not how we do it here at Church Media HQ, and there's a few others out there that don't exactly do it that way. But that is pretty common. And so this is not universally true. It's going to vary. But from what I have noticed in working with other creative professionals, here's the rates that you can expect. So for custom design, you can expect anywhere from $50 to $100 an hour. And we're talking about logos. We're talking about print pieces, even something like a social media or screen graphic, something for your sermon series or for an event. We're looking at $50 to $100 an hour. Many times it's about a 3-hour minimum. So your minimum budget could run anywhere from $150, which, by the way, I rarely see it that low anymore, to $300 just minimum per project. And then again, that's going to be an additional $50 to $100 an hour if you exceed those minimum hours. So that is custom design. Then web development, you're looking at if you can find anything for a custom website. Now, there's a lot of platforms out there. Squarespace is really common. Wix is kind of seeing some popularity. These kind of do-it-yourself web builders, and without going on too much of a tangent, I have nothing against those. But what I will say is that it's kind of like you have to be very cautious when I do that, because a lot of times you can get kind of enticed by the low price, by the ease of use. But as you get into it, you find that you're actually very it's not always ideal for churches. I should say. I should put it that way. It's not. Sometimes it's great for maybe a small business or if you just want a personal blog. But for a church, the websites, these templates and these builders, they're clearly built for businesses and not for churches, and that actually can make a big difference. So I'm going to throw that out there. So what we're talking about here is custom design. This is, you say someone comes along and they want to design you want them rather to design your website. You want them to build it and all of that. If you can find someone who'll do it for less than $1,000, that's a good find. Because it's going to be very, web development is a very potentially complex service, or just the knowledge that's required. Again, yeah, it can seem really easy when you look at tools like Squarespace, but when you're talking about true custom design and development of a website, it's a skill. And so, what you're looking at, if you can find anything less than $1,000, that is going to surprise me. And usually, you're looking at thousands of dollars, like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I mean, one of the most popular church website builders out there. I'm not going to name them, but it's not us. But they charge $4,000 for a custom website. So, and that sounds like a lot of money, but to be honest with you, when you consider all the work and all that's required, it's really not that crazy. So this is something to keep in mind. And then also is the ongoing support and management of the site. So maybe you are, a lot of times they might set it up to where you can do that. And you can, go in and manage it and, you maybe self-host it and stuff. And that's great. But many times the situation is that they are going to be the ones to do it. And that's how we do it here. We've done it both ways. We've said, hey, we can try to build a website on your host and then let you run with it. And the problem we run into almost every time is that, again, there's just so much complexity that goes along with a website that somehow, some way, at some point, that website, once we kind of build it, make sure they're set up and using it, and we leave it, well, things get really messed up. In fact, I am working on a website right now. I'm trying to go in and help this organization repair their website, and it's a mess because it's clear that whoever was using it last or at some point didn't know what they were doing, and so they kind of broke a lot of things. So all that to say, you might find someone who can do it that way, but that's the problem that we found here is that, well, you have to reach out to us down the road anyways because you messed something up, more or less. And so we don't want that to happen. So we host and support all of our websites. It's a requirement if you want us to build a website. Now, that said, another little shameless plug here. Our entry rate for building a website is incredibly affordable. In fact, when you sign up for Church Media HQ, there is no setup fee, which leads me to take a moment to talk about that. Let's talk about the web factor of Church Media HQ that is included with your free trial. So as we're talking here, lots of website developers are going to charge you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just to set up your site. And then many of them are going to charge you an ongoing fee that can really add up and get very expensive to continue to support and manage your site. Well, at Church Media HQ, we don't do that, in that we do not charge you an exorbitant amount of money just to set up your site. In fact, we can set up your website for free. Now, that's right. You heard that right. We can actually give you free website setup as part of your 30-day free trial. And all you do, you head over to churchmediahq.com. Again, if you haven't heard yet, there's no credit card required. You just put in your name, your email, you sign up, then there's a very short website form that you fill out. It will take you about a minute, maybe even 30 seconds to fill out that form. And so All you have to do is fill out that setup form, and then we will take that information you provide us, and we will set up a website for you completely free. If you like what you see, then all you got to do is upgrade your account starting as little as $99 a month. And in addition to the website, you're going to get access to on-demand design service, priority coaching, access to our collection of media assets, including content for video, web, social media, and more. It's over 500 assets, by the way. That's another side note. But all that to say, when it comes to your website, you don't have to pay these exorbitant amounts for setup, and you don't have to necessarily try to do it yourself and get lost there. We like to think of ourselves as the happy medium, and we will set up your website for free, and you don't owe us a single penny unless you like what we do. So again, you got nothing to lose. Head over to churchmediahq.com and start your free trial today. And when we're thinking about cost, also want to think about video and the cost of video production. Now, video is another thing that's very complex. It varies. There's different types of specific video skills. So, for example, there is what we would call the pre-production process, where you are thinking of the idea and maybe writing a script or a storyboard and making a plan for the video. That in itself is a process that people dedicate their careers to, just that phase. But then there's also the production and the videography itself. That's where you actually get a camera out and you're recording and capturing the content. And there's so many factors of that with the cinematography and the audio and all of the technical things that go in there. And then there's the post-production process, which is, of course, the editing and the maybe potentially the special effects, the audio engineering, all of these skill sets. Again, everything I've mentioned, every specific skill set I've mentioned are all genuinely individual careers that people pursue. So, for example, there are people that are making a living off of being an audio engineer, literally taking audio for video, processing it, making it sound excellent. And that's what they do. There are people and all they do is special effects. All they do is videography. So the point I'm trying to make here is that as you consider the cost, or as you consider, the cost for a video, again, it's going to be high, but it's because most of the time when you're hiring an independent videographer, they are a one-man show. They're doing everything I just mentioned. They are doing it. Maybe they have somebody that they contract out to help them with some things, but most of them, they're doing all of it. And many of the ones I've met, that is the case. So if you're looking at a video, you shouldn't expect to pay for a custom video for like, hey, I want a promo video, or I want this particular video where, maybe you have to bring somebody in on location. You should expect to pay nothing less than $1,500, and that doesn't include travel expenses. And again, $1,500 is a good, what I would consider on the very low end of the spectrum, depending on all the different factors of your video. I mean, you're looking at, a multi-$1,000 project. So as you're thinking through all this, if you're like, gulp, this sounds like a lot. Well, it is. I get it. The wonderful thing about the world of creative media is that it's actually gotten more affordable over the years. Equipment has become more, and particularly in video, equipment has gotten more affordable. And the means of, like I said, with websites, tools like Squarespace, they make things more affordable, more accessible. But what they also do as a result of that is we have a more saturated media culture, if you will. So, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, billions of minutes of video uploaded to YouTube. I forget the specific stat, but it's insane how many minutes of video are on YouTube. And then you think about, even stuff like podcasts and all this stuff. So all of this stuff it may be more easier to create in theory, but you don't have to search very far to find bad video, to find, there might be a lot, but quantity definitely does not equal quality. And so the importance of, if you want to stand out, if you want your video content to get watched, the value of hiring someone who really knows what they're doing and can make a quality product, well, that is more important than ever. And so again, as you look at these prices for video, web, or design, and you kind of choke on it, well, again, especially when we're talking about custom, truly fully custom work, this is what it takes, and it's not unreasonable. In fact, most creatives that I know, I don't know many of them that I would consider to be rolling in the dough. I'm not saying they're all poor and living in poverty. No, they're making it by. They're making a living. But especially the ones that have, because again, I've met many. I have a kind of a community of many guys and those who have said, yeah, this is what we want to do. We want to do church media. We want to help churches full time in some way or another. Well, these guys especially, like, they are giving incredible discounts, incredible deals to churches, and they're giving prices that I have mentioned, that we've talked about, and they're making it by, but it's not like they're it's not like they're on the path to being a Fortune 500 company or anything like that. So that's just what you have to consider. Yeah, it's super expensive. I'm not going to try to hide that fact, but it's also very, very time consuming, requires a very, very high level of skill set, personal development, in order for these creatives to be good at what they do and to deliver a quality project for you. So I probably spent a little bit more time there talking about pricing than I wanted to. But I wanted to make sure that you understood that, and that if you're headed into that, let it know. Now, again, we talk about our affordability all the time, and yes, we're very affordable here, and our prices are very affordable. But we have a very specific process that we follow, and that's why we're able to, and that's why right now we're able to make our services more affordable than ever before. In fact, it used to be, if you wanted service from us, it would cost a minimum of $500 a month, and we've cut that down, down to $99 a month. And so we are very glad to offer that. But I even know that $99 a month, hey, that feels like a lot. I hear you. I completely understand. But you have to consider, at some point, you have to consider, what value is this going to bring to my church? It truly is an investment. I do not like saying that it's an expense, because an expense or spending implies that it's money that you spend and is gone. Now, it is an investment, and you will see a return on it if you give it time and you're effective in the way that you communicate with whoever you're working with. So your creative, or your creative agency, creative team. And so, yeah, let's move into talking a little bit more about the communication aspect in particular. And something else, actually, before I get there, another kind of thing, let's review turnaround times real quick. Again, seems to be the two common things that we see amongst, and it's not churches in particular. I see it. I have seen it, I should say, in every industry that I've ever worked in the area of creative media. But two things, or three. Sorry, reading my notes wrong there. Going to move through kind of four areas, if you will, of turnaround, and what you have to expect in terms of turnaround time. So first of all, when it comes to design, and again, in this case, we're talking about like maybe a print piece, maybe something for your social media, a sermon series, you need to be giving your designer 2 to 4 weeks. Do not be this person who says, hey, can you, I just got an email like this. It's been a few weeks ago. I said, hey, I really need a design for this by this Sunday. Do you think that's possible? I got this on like a Tuesday. And I said, hey, you know what? This is something that I would love to help you with. However, that turnaround time is just not going to be feasible. There is some exception to that. We do our best to do quick turnaround time here. And yeah, there are situations where we can do exceptionally fast turnaround in certain applications. But when I'm talking about this, when you're working with most freelancers, most creative professionals in the area of design, 2 to 4 weeks, except a logo. Now, if you're working and you're wanting a logo, you need to be giving the average creative professional 4 to 6 weeks to get that done and to do it right. And the logo requires more communication, back and forth feedback than any other type of project. The logo will also be more expensive than any other type of design project. It's going to lean to that $100, if not more, per hour. And the minimum hours required for a logo is going to be probably it could be upwards of 10 hours or so. And so, yeah, do the math on that. Sure, does it seem expensive? But think about this with a logo. The investment of time and resource and finances in this case, it's really going to be worth it, especially considering that your logo is something that should last your church in theory for eternity in one way or another. Yes, you should refresh your logo every once in a while, but if you get a good logo, it lasts, like I said, in theory forever. So like the Nike swoosh, that hasn't changed since it was the Nike swoosh. It hasn't changed at all. It is, and it never will. And I have no idea. I've never done the research on what that costed and what Nike paid for that and how all that came to pass. But it's an iconic logo. And yeah, we're talking about a big brand like Nike here, but I can think of churches that they have very good logos, and you look at them and it's like, that's an iconic logo, and it's something that is going to last forever. And so when you think about it, well, paying $1,000 or more for the design of a great logo, it's considering everywhere you're going to use it. You're going to put it on your website, on your social feed. You're going to put it in your print materials. You're going to get it embroidered onto shirts and things like that. When you think about all that, it's really not that unreasonable. And so this cost of a logo and the turnaround time is going to be more than maybe any other type of design. And speaking of lengthier turnaround times when it comes to a website, I mean, again, this very much web development there's so many different options and variables that affect it. So depending on all of those and the complexity of the website you need, I have seen it's a 4 to 8 week process on average when you're building a fully custom site. And so you have to keep that in mind. Again, you have to be able to. So, and then with the video, it's minimum 4 weeks, and many times it's longer than that. Again, video and web both are kind of in the same category in that they are just, there's so many variables that go into the project that it just really depends on who you're working with specifically and what the nature of the project is. So yeah, wanted to touch on that turnaround time. Again, you got to make the investment of finance. Yes, and you have to make the investment of time. And good things come to those who wait in these areas. The common thing that I see is somebody who wants it fast and want it cheap. Well, I've often heard it said, or actually, there used to be this. I found this like little online toggle thing. It was, anyways, I can't describe it very well, but basically, you would click on this toggle. It has 3 toggles. It was price, turnaround, and quality. And it was like, well, hey, when you tried to turn on, and whoever created this online, brilliant little web developer, whenever you turned on, price and quality, it automatically turned off the turnaround toggle. But whenever you tried to push, for example, turnaround and price in terms of being affordable price, it turned off the quality. And then whenever you turned off the price toggle, the affordability toggle, and you turned on, I should say, whenever you turned on the quality toggle and the turnaround time, well, it automatically turned off the pricing toggle. And I did a horrible way of probably describing that. And it's really something that's much better visually illustrated than it is described. Nonetheless, the point there is that you cannot get all 3. You're not going to be able to get quick turnaround at a cheap price and quality work. It's a very rare combination. Now, I'm saying all that, and I do have to give this disclaimer. I don't want you to get the idea that when you work with Church Media HQ and when you go and start your free 30-day trial and then perhaps continue working with us beyond your free trial, that just because our prices are really, from what I found, I consider to be the most affordable full-service creative solution for churches out there, just because it is affordable does not mean that you are going to lack quality. Again, here at Church Media HQ, we have mastered some processes. We have some call it secret sauce, secret herbs and spices to the way that we operate that allows us to too many times deliver something pretty quickly at an affordable rate that is good quality. And you really have to try it for yourself. So again, I have to give a quick plug here. Why are you not on churchmediahq.com starting your free trial right at this moment? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. That's right. That's what I thought. Yeah, you have no good reason. churchmediahq.com. Start your free 30-day trial. It's free, truly free, no credit card required, and no obligation, no commitment, no hard feelings. Just give us a chance. I mean, come on. Okay, so anyway, so that moves us into the actual content here, talking about the communication process. Admittedly, I spent a little bit more time talking about budget and about turnaround time than maybe I expected to. But you know what? I'm okay with that because those are important things to remember. And as you can tell, this is a little bit more of an informal type of coaching lesson here. Typically, where we've got things for our other weekly episode, the short one where we're talking about video right now. Those are designed to be short and quick, and we leave out some of the details. But with this, I want to be very clear. I want to cover everything and try to answer every potential question out there. And so here's what we're going to do. Actually, I'm going to start this content. And I'm going to just let you know, hey, here's where we're headed next. But I'm actually going to go ahead and break and say we're going to cover that in the next episode. So where we're headed is this. We're actually going to talk about what is required for giving creative direction, specifically for things like designs and short videos, visual-based content here. And so that's where we're moving to in the coming in the next episode. So hang with me. I look forward to seeing you there. And I do want to say, hey, look, this is a very, very interesting time here at Church Media HQ and Must Increase. We are entering into, or have entered into already, what I should say is a busy season, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's been really, really exciting to, we've had so many more churches just in the past couple weeks, really, jump on and say, hey, we need your help with these visual things. And they've hopped on to joining Church Media HQ. They've signed up for a membership, and this has been incredibly exciting. And so we're super, we're getting busy. But I want to emphasize, we are not too busy for you. There has not been a time, I already mentioned this earlier, I think I did, there has not been a time where we've had to cut off and not accept new signups. I've never experienced that in the 5 years that we have been doing this, and I don't intend to. That is another beautiful thing about Church Media HQ and our process is it's very scalable in that we can serve 10 churches and 100 churches and in theory 1,000 churches, all with, yeah, don't get me wrong, it makes my life pretty busy, but all with somewhat ease of scalability. And so sorry, I'm using a lot of business speak there, and you're like, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm trying to say. We have room for you. We would love to help you, and there's no better way than to figure it out, than figure out if it's for you, and if our team is for you, then getting on a free trial at churchmediahq.com. No credit card required there, and no hard feelings if you don't stick around after the trial. Just give us a chance. Let us do a sample design, on-demand design for you. Set up your website. Let us get on a coaching call with you. Try it out. See what you think, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with your church. And so I'm going to see you in the next episode, which of course is going to be our weekly short episode. That is going to be next. So I look forward to us talking, me getting to talk to you yet again in that way. And Church Media HQ, as you know by now, is a production of the Must Increase Network. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Must Increase, so Church Media HQ is a part of Must Increase, but Must Increase, that's kind of the mother brand, if you will. It's the original organization that we started 5 years ago, and that I've been been privileged to lead all these years. And so if you want to learn more about that, head over to mustincrease.com. We have resources for churches and then also for families. And so if you are interested there, Connection Culture, that's another podcast we have in the network here. That's something as well that you can tune into that talks a little bit more about how it can be, how you can use the power of media to increase truth and inspire hope in the lives of others as an individual or as a family. So check that out. And until I see you in the next episode, I want to give you the friendly reminder that it's time for you to try something new. Yeah. You know why? Why is that? Well, because you're going to find that it's so much better to fail at trying that new thing that could be potentially incredible than it is to succeed at just doing the average every week and every month. So try something new, and I'll see you next time right here on Church Media HQ.